Considering the month that we're in with love blooming in the air for anyone who's not an anime fan on prom nights, I'd say it's time we head into paradise. Now, if you remember how hard I struggled to keep myself together back in my Rumble Roses video, you'd know that I love me some female characters, especially those from the world of video games. We've always had some of the coolest male icons to grace our screens and take control of since the dawn of time. But for just as long, female characters have been making their sweet rounds too. So many of them across different genres truly made their marks to become legendary icons that paved the way for gaming, had journeys that we can all identify and connect with, brightened up our days through their charming and appealing personalities, and maybe even caused a special awakening for some of us downstairs. But either way, there's a countless amount of female characters that truly made a positive difference in all of us and became fan favorites. And I thought what better time than now to share my top 12 favorite female video game characters. Why 12 instead of 10, you may ask? No special reason. Let's just say there's way too many good chicks out there I want to talk about to just stop at 10. With all that out of the way, I'd say we get this countdown started. Coming at number 12 is the character where as soon as she starts shaking those hips, you won't be taking your eyes off her anytime soon, and that's Shantae. Now, I only started playing the Shantae series around 3 years ago with Half Genie Hero, and ever since then, I wish I was with this series a lot sooner. Shantae as a character is the epitome of the word charm. Not only does she tackle complex platforming, but as you go on her adventures, you really start to appreciate the character for who she is at the heart. She's the guardian genie of Scuttletown, and despite the responsibilities that come with that role, you can tell that she genuinely likes helping her friends and the people of Scuttletown and being that positive figure that everyone can rely on. Even going as far on numerous occasions to offer a friendship and persuade Risky Boots to come to the good side despite Risky being her archenemy. But Shantae in general is just too adorable. I love her playful attitude, her cool transformations, her sense of wanting to do the right thing, and especially her idle animations in the game. She's just overall too lovable of a character and really fun to be around. And to cap everything off, yeah, her belly dancing is definitely a great sight to behold. While Shantae dazzles us with her enchanting dances and heroic charm, number 11 on our list brings down her own unique flair straight from the Broadway stage. Time to draw the curtains back on the girl who's a cowgirl at heart but with a samurai spirit, Gemini Sunrise from Sakura Wars So Long My Love. Now, the only other Sakura Wars game I played up to before was the 2019 reboot game on PS4. And while I definitely enjoyed all of the characters in that game, there wasn't necessarily a character I truly loved. That all changed when I started playing So Long My Love last year and spent my whole first day of being in New York with Gemini, a girl that I just met that same day just by bumping into her. And it was throughout just that one encounter during that in-game day where I knew I was head over heels for this character. Gemini's Heart of Gold is so inviting, and what also didn't help was my weak spot for country chicks. Not without her adorable vulnerabilities, she's genuinely a country girl who moved to the Big Apple in hopes of wanting to make her mark as a standout New Yorker and Broadway star. And she went through a really great and relatable arc of self-doubting herself on whether she truly belongs here, facing prejudice from some of the other citizens of New York, as well as overcoming her double personality that lies within her. And it was such a delight to see. Gemini's relationship with the protagonist of the game, Shinjiro Taiga, is also really wholesome, especially if you romance her in the game, which you're damn sure I did. And every moment shared with her in the game truly brightened up my mood. And Gemini's strength in the battlefield as a trained samurai is a spectacle to see. Both her solo attacks, unison team-ups, and ultimate abilities totally rock. She's a great character all throughout, which made me, by the end of the game, wish she was brought up a lot more in the gaming community when it comes to these topics. But then again, in order for that to happen, we would need to have this game more widely available, don't we, Sega? While Gemini's heartwarming charm and spirited battles light up the Broadway stage of Sakura Wars, our next heroine performs a different kind of dance. An alluring dance of bullets and magic that'll send all the angels to the graveyard. Sliding her legs in at number 10 is the bewitching Bayonetta. Now, Bayonetta is beyond cool. From the moment you start any of the 3 games, you're immediately thrusted into action with this character and you instantly understand everything that she's about. She's confident, she's full of sass, she's playful, and there's not a single other female character I know of in this space that's as stylish as she is. Not only is she ridiculously strong in all of her battles and she has some of the craziest abilities that you can think of, but you also get the sense that she's taking advantage of every moment possible to put on an enchanting performance through all of her dance moves for us, the audience. A lot of which to have our eyes glued right on her. And underneath all of that, she's got a caring soul, which I thought was best showcased in the first game. There's a reason why she won the Super Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS ballots back almost 10 years ago? Sheesh! But she really is that much of an icon. A super recognizable one at that. And if there's one thing we can always count on her for, is that her enchanting sex appeal combined with stylish butt kicking will forever steal the show in the gaming industry. Bayonetta definitely hunts angels like no other. But let's talk about a lady who hunts demons. A type of lady who doesn't need magic to make her mark. mark. Coming at number 9 is Lady from Devil May Cry. Now the word badass should be this chick's middle name. It wasn't that long ago when I was playing Devil May Cry 3 for the first time, and when Lady crashed her way onto screen, I knew she was going to be the highlight of the game. Not only does she have all of the sick gunfighting skills that Dante has, but her entire revenge storyline in Devil May Cry 3 was awesome. She had so many great moments of development throughout the game that by the time she finally got the closure she wanted in the end, it felt immensely earned. Plus, the fact that a chick as normal as her, with an impaled leg mind you, was still able to put up a fight against Dante shows how tough as nails this woman really is. She truly is as badass as they come, and seeing her getting to be allies with Dante and Trish in Devil May Cry 4 and even becoming a playable character was great to see. Definitely appreciate her glow up too, if you catch my drift. I haven't played Devil May Cry 5 yet as of the recording of this video, but as far as I'm concerned, Lady's always going to be one of the coolest action icons this industry will ever see. Lady's a female that'll definitely get the adrenaline pumping. But for this next one, why don't we slow down a little and get a little more laid back with some alchemy on Kirkin Island? The Atelier series is a franchise I'd never thought I'd get myself into, but like many people these days, when Atelier Ryza came out, the main character, Ryzaline Stout, better known as Ryza, gave me 2 reasons to want to jump in and give these games a genuine shot. And as I was playing through the game, what I didn't expect was for me to find myself heavily connecting to Ryza through how much she truly represented me through her character and the type of story the game presented. She's lazy, she's always getting nagged by her mom for not wanting to do her farming chores, and she's tired of living a boring, plain life in her quiet town. These are all things I heavily identify with, and some of which hits far too close to home for me. But what I love about Ryza ever since she and her friends went on their adventure in the first game is how much she grows from the teenager that she was into a mature adult that she's now in the final game, as well as the positive impact she's made on the people around her. Not to mention, seeing her passion for alchemy crafting and how she utilizes it in combat is a spectacle to behold. To me, Ryza is one of the quintessential coming-of-age characters in video games that by the time I finished Atelier Ryza 3, I felt like I was saying goodbye to someone I knew my whole life. Considering how well the Atelier Ryza trilogy did in the West, it's pretty obvious why Ryza became the poster girl of the Atelier franchise. She's really that girl next door that every person would be lucky to have in their lives, and that's why Ryza takes the number 8 spot. Kirkin Island might be a great vacation spot. But for number 7, we're diving into the gritty streets of Midgard to visit Tifa Lockhart at 7th Heaven from Final Fantasy VII. To say Tifa is a popular character would be a massive understatement, especially among those who grew up in the 90s PlayStation era. Putting aside the fact that seeing Tifa always seems to spike my thirst for a tall, rich glass of milk, there's so much more to her character that cemented her status as an iconic figure. She's not only phenomenal in battle, but her hand-to-hand combat style showcased across many games and even the Advent Children movie is thrilling for anyone who appreciates a character who can crack skulls with her knuckles. But beyond her strength, it's her role in the narrative that truly defines her. Tifa is the backbone of the group, offering emotional support and stability that keeps everyone, especially Cloud, afloat during their darkest hours. Her ability to care deeply and be the voice of reason highlights her irreplaceable nature as a loyal friend. Tifa is genuinely a character that embodies the word beauty both inside and out. Tifa truly embodies what many of us should strive for. After all, we've got to bring glory to mankind, right? Coming at number 6 is 2B from NieR Automata, a character who takes that mission in ways you won't believe. Alright, I remember around the time NieR Automata first came out, I kept seeing art of the main character all over social media. I had absolutely no idea why, but as the days went by, I kept seeing her pop on my timeline more and more. It got to the point where my curiosity was at an all-time maximum because I had to find out why people like this character so much. So I went on YouTube to look for gameplay footage to find out what's the big deal about.
Wow, that is one big butt!
And then everything made sense. And as you'd expect, not long afterwards, there goes $60 of my cash. But beyond the silly stuff like that, 2B's character depth truly unfolds as you dive deeper into the game. Her journey through a war-torn world questions the very nature of emotions and existence, challenging her to confront her programming and the hidden truths of her own reality. As the layers of her stoic demeanor peel away, we see the struggles of being torn between duty and newfound feelings of desire and doubt. This exploration into what it means to be human in a world ruled by conflict and chaos not only captivates but also offers poignant reflections on freedom and fate. You also gotta mention how beautiful it was to see 2B awaken new emotions she never thought she could feel about herself and others around her, especially with her evolving relationship with 9S. She emerges as an incredibly well-written character whose superb fighting abilities are just the icing on the cake. I did not realize what I just did there. We're now in top 5 territory. Now, I love every single character on this list to death, but these next characters are the ones who have touched my heart the deepest and influenced my journey as a gamer. Each one has left a unique imprint, shaping not only how I view games, but how I connect with their stories and worlds. And what better way to start off than with the character whose franchise I said last year was incredible. Estelle Bright is truly something else, isn't she? In my previous video surrounding Trails, I went into a little bit of detail as to why Estelle was such an outstanding character to me. But to make an extension on that, what made Estelle capture my heart is seeing her grow throughout her journey. From the moment you start your journey with Estelle from her home in Libero with Joshua as an up-and-coming bracer, and seeing all the adventures she goes on, seeing all the people she would meet, overcoming the obstacles in front of her, and even taking it upon herself to travel all across the region to bring back home the person that she loves. And she does all of this while staying true to herself all the way. Estelle's impatient, stubborn, impulsive, all the things that I and many people can identify with. But what I love is that Estelle owns all of it. She knows her strengths, she knows her weaknesses, and no matter how absurd the odds are against her, she always tackles it head on, because that's who she is, which in turn ends up inspiring all the people around Estelle and sometimes even the antagonists due to her optimism. Estelle is 100% an inspiring character who shined so brightly in Trails in the Sky second chapter, and seeing her become more mature throughout the rest of the Trails games that she appears in well after the Sky trilogy is emotionally satisfying. I'm currently close to being fully caught up with the Trails games, but whenever I do a personal look back on my time with the Trails series, Estelle is always going to be the main thing that continuously comes to my head as the reason why I'll forever be thankful I got into this franchise in the first place. Clearly, Nihon Falcom has perfected the art of creating unforgettable female leads. Staying true to their legacy, we're not just stepping, we're diving into another epic chapter with our number 4, being the maiden of the great tree herself, Donna Eclusia from Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Donna. Now, Ys 8 was already a great entry point for me to fully invest myself into this franchise alone, but what kept surprising myself as I kept playing through the game was everything surrounding Donna and her timeline. Donna to me is the prime example of the best kind of leader that any of us can ever have. She was given the ability of foresight when she was really young that became both a blessing and a curse for her, and the one time she denied use of it caused the death of her mother, which as you would expect caused Donna indescribable pain and suffering. But it was through that event that made her vow to use her power to make sure nobody else would have to go through that same loss she went through as a child, to never turn a blind eye to danger ever again. And you see that through her actions as the maiden and the lengths that she went through to try and prevent the tragedy that she found out was going to befall her people. Donna is another woman who's incredibly kind, caring, and loves her people of Eternia. So much so that when some of her people started to turn on her due to the tragedy of events that was occurring at that part of the story, she never thought badly of them. And what makes me love Donna even more as a leader is that she's someone who didn't have it all figured out from the start. She truly thought it was her responsibility and hers alone to preserve the legacy of her people and carry that burden herself. But we naturally saw her transform as a character to finally ask for help from others thanks to Adol and his friends. She's another example of a character who's both beautiful inside and out. Donna was a character that I was really rooting for since the beginning, and when she finally achieved her goal, I didn't want to say goodbye. Donna is truly an angel of a character. Donna shaped her world with foresight and resolve. Now, let's dive into how a certain someone reshapes hers with gravity and grace in the bustling skies of Hexville. Coming at number 3 is Kat from Gravity Rush. Now, I'll say this up front. Kat is the best female character that Sony ever produced. Kat is one of those characters to where as soon as you start the game, you fall in love with her instantly. In the storyline, she's someone who has no memories of herself. She has no home to go to and she finds lodging inside of a sewer pipe. But she makes the best with what she does have, being her ability to fly by shifting gravity thanks to her cat Dusty. And what I love is that because Kat knows very little, it genuinely feels like the player is going on these adventures with her side by side, as we discover towns, meet all these people, take down these mysterious threats, etc., which makes her growth throughout the game feel organic. And Kat's personality is dangerously wholesome. Many of the interactions she has with the side characters of the game are beyond cute and heartwarming, which makes it all the more great when she finally definitely earns the respect of all the people of Hexville by the end of the first game after saving their city. And when you actually do discover the truth about Kat's past in Gravity Rush 2, it made me love her character on a completely different level. She really is such a likable character that captured my heart in many different ways, which made me love going on all of these adventures with her throughout the games. She's one of those characters who symbolizes the word freedom, as we see her soaring through the air to see the world around her and help others. Just like many others on this list, Kat's loyalty and care to Raven and many of her other friends in these games is truly remarkable, and you can tell how much of a genuine impact she's made on everyone around her with who she is as a person. Kat is always going to be special to me because of how much she makes me smile every single time I see her on screen. And if that's not love, then what is? Exploring Hexville with Kat is super fun, but what's just as cool is exploring the land of Allrest with Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at number 2. Yeah, I'm making a little bit of a cheat here. You say I can't do that? Don't care, sue me. In all seriousness, Pyra and Mithra are such wonderful characters that choosing one over the other just feels kinda wrong per se, especially when both of them share the same mind and are made to complement the other. After all, Rex in the end didn't choose just one, so why should I? But anyway, starting with Pyra, she is so hard not to fall in love with. The way that she's always worrying about Rex, being at his beck and call every time he's in danger, comforting him whenever he needs, and overall giving him the support he needs to fight, makes her easy wife material. Every time she speaks, you can feel the warmth in her voice and her actions as the most selfless member of the group. Everything about her screams warmth, especially when you find out the real reason as to why she was created in the first place, which now leads us to Mithra. Now Mithra can definitely be a hard ass, but underneath that admittedly funny tsundere personality she has, she's a deeply caring person who wants to protect others and slowly learn to open herself up more about her feelings the more time she spent with Rex. And you can't forget about the tragedy of events that Mithra went through in the Golden Torna that led up to her bottling up her emotions now. Mithra's development was definitely a huge highlight, same with Pyra. Both of them are amazing, well-written, beautiful characters that everyone will fall in love with, everyone will feel emotional towards, and everyone will form a genuine, everlasting connection towards. After the time I spent with them in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they really became two characters I'm always going to see as classic heroines for not just JRPGs, but video games as a whole, and the ideal type of significant others that every guy should have in their lives. Pyra and Mithra are both a blessing. And before we get to number 1, let's see some honorable mentions. Hell yes! Velvet Crow from Tales of Berseria. I don't even know where to begin with this character, but I'll just say this. Velvet's entire journey was the most heart-wrenching, emotional, and most phenomenal experience I've ever had in gaming. And anyone who's played Tales of Berseria and went through that storyline would know exactly what I'm talking about. You have this woman who was this beautiful mother figure that was content with living a peaceful, happy life taking care of her sick little brother. But when the one person she trusted the most ended up betraying her in the worst possible way, her entire world world was destroyed and made it her life's goal to seek revenge. The standout thing that won me over so hard with Velvet is her gradual transformation throughout the game. With all the lengths that she went through and all the horrible deeds she did to get closer to her goal of revenge, all of that started to make her deteriorate mentally. Especially when she started finding out the truth of what happened on the very day that made her want to set out on her mission for blood. And that's when you realize Velvet's not the rage-filled monster that she's trying so hard to convince herself to be. She's someone ultimately filled with an endless sea of grief and sadness over how unfairly the world around her treated her, which caused her to descend into the exact thing she didn't want to be. Which is not only something I can 100% relate with since I've dealt with emotions like that IRL before, but it also indescribably impacted me on so many emotional levels that no other video game character has ever done to me before. It's also what made it all the more triumphant and overwhelmingly satisfying when Velvet finally found her true resolve in the end. Velvet is a beautiful soul both inside and especially out, who was dealt an ugly hand by fate, and it makes me wish so badly that I can give her a genuine hug, which now leads into me giving my full transparent feelings about Velvet. I'm in love with her. The kind of love that hurts as if she was a real human being. While I adore every single character on this list, Velvet awakened a feeling in me that I've never had before with another female character. She's not just a character in a game. She feels like a person who's lived, suffered, and fought in ways that mirror the human experience, echoing the pain and the resilience I've seen in life. Her ability to carry on, transform her pain into strength, and ultimately find a sliver of redemption resonates with me deeply, forging a connection that transcends the screen. And this is not even getting to how Velvet has one of the coolest and most expertly crafted character designs ever for a female character, as well as how awesome it is to see her fighting capabilities in battle. I could continue down the list all day, but the heart of all of this is that Velvet Crow means the world to me. I love her. And that is why she is my favorite female video game character ever. After all, I'll have plenty more to say about Velvet and the rest of Tales of Berseria in a video in the near future. But anyway, putting my love-struck eyes away, and admittedly something else away, that wraps all this up. There's so many more female characters that are totally worth mentioning, a lot of which probably made similar impacts to all of you as the ones I chose on my list did for me. But this was just my personal list. And with a game like Atelier Yumiya on the horizon, I'm curious to see if my list will remain the same as is. Last thing I want to say is that my ultimate hope with this video is that it encourages all of you to reflect more on the things that make you happy. Not just with female characters, but with media and life in general. Because the things that bring us joy are the things worth cherishing. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day. Laters.